You were in the Czech Republic.
Yeah, it was last month, actually, 5 or 6 weeks ago. I was in Prague with the national conference.
Okay. Maybe
so how
we met with Anush Vesely, maybe.
Yep.
We have here Anush Vesely.
And greetings from Mika Risku. I told we met, and he said that warm greetings as well.
Okay, so if you can introduce something, what is your experiences with development of career education, and what is your some recommendations maybe, and we can ask you later.
Okay, so I start briefly introducing the career education and career guidance in our educational system, and to start, I can tell that our education system is, I would say, almost 100% free public education, so hardly any private schools. And then we have the 9-year comprehensive education, that is the same type of program, almost the same program for all, some electives, some language options, but basically it's the 9-year comprehensive education, and 6 years like classroom teachers, and junior high grades 7 to 9, then they are in bigger schools, and then we have subject teachers. When students complete their comprehensive basic education, they are at the age of 16. And then we have the 3-year upper secondary school, and general school is 3 years, or VET 3 years. But students have also options to take modules on their program from both branches. And this implies that they are eligible applicants for higher education from both branches. And at the moment, 50-50 students choose the VET program and general education. And this has implications how we organize the guidance. We have had career guidance or career counseling in the curriculum or education system now almost 50 years, so since 1970. And it has, at the moment, with the current curriculum, it has 3 tasks. It helps the individual students to develop their career management skills as a continuum. So we see it as an explicit competence. And second, it helps the school, or it's an indicator of the well-functioning schools. So we see career education as one way to meet the whole age cohort, all the students, before anything happens. So in a way, the idea is that it's an integral part of the education system. And then if we have students have problems, then we sort of decide or choose which level of support we provide for the students. But we have also written in the curriculum that the long-term goal is to help the skills match, or helping the students to think of their future and design their program in such way that they can use it in the labor market. So we think of the well-functioning labor market as an outcome of the guidance from long term. And now, when this is the whole idea, we have career education in 2 places in the curriculum. First, it's the overall among the transversal goals of the whole educational system. So it's the career management skills and the engagement and active citizenship and preparing for the labor market and transitions. And when it's described like this, it's a task of the whole school, and each school must have a plan how they are meeting this overall transversal goals. But then the second one is with a feature which is quite unique in Finland and has been the case now for 15 years, is that we have also career education like a school subject, which is compulsory for all the students. And we start this school subject on the grades 1 to 6 in a slightly different way. It's a task of all the teachers and we are describing some goals or transversal goals, helping the students to learn team working skills, social skills, communication skills, and also how they identify their learning styles and daily schedules. It's a one way of preparing them for career. We are not talking explicitly, or teachers are not talking about careers, but we are describing or preparing them just to get along with their peers and in the school environment and groups. But then when we come to the grade 7, so students are at the age of 13, then during this 3 years program they are in basics education, there is altogether 76 hours time slot, which is titled in the national core curriculum under career education. And this is now, it has a similar status like school subject, like maths and history, but we don't grade it. We don't give marks like number 10 or number 8. We are not grading it, but students have to attend. And this is an opportunity for the students to learn these basic skills or get information about further education, about their strength. Actually, we start from their strengths. I forgot. We start from the student, their strengths, interests, values, background, experiences, and then in the light of their interest, and we are also providing information about further education and labor market competencies and skills needs. And within this time, 76 hours, when it's spread during 3 years, it's like a bottom line or a red line during the program, which helps the students to think, why should I choose this module or this elective, or how does this relate to further learning opportunities? And this 76-hour time slot is delivered or taught by a trained school counselor or guidance counselor. On top of this 76 hours, I can tell the content in more details after I finish the overall system. On top of this 76 hours, the school counselors meet every student during every year for individual guidance or school group guidance. And at the moment, we have the student ratio in such a way that the average is about 300 students for one school counselor. The recommendation is 250, and it varies from 100 to 400, but the average at the moment is 300. And every school must have a trained counselor because it's part of the hour allocation for different subjects. And at the moment, most of the school counselors are trained. In 2016, 98% of the vacancies were filled by qualified school counselors. The third element is the classroom activities, individual guidance, but students have 2 weeks in workplaces. They go to actual workplaces in cooperation with the local chambers of commerce or national employer organizations. They have been promoting this practical work experience before the students make their choice to upper secondary level education. And we have online platforms where the companies inform which tasks are available, when they want to be contacted, how they want to be contacted, and the students send their applications or contact them like applying for a real job. So they are learning the job searching skills, and when they go to the workplaces, they spend their 1 week on the 8th grade and 1 week on the 9th grade, and then report together what they learned, what are the competencies needed in this job, where you can train, where you can get qualifications, and what is the current scene or anticipation of skills in the future. And nowadays they do a lot of videos when they film with their mobile phones, they film what they have been learning, and then they are sharing this experience together before they make their choice. So basically, this is the content, and every school must have a plan how they organize the services. We have a national core curriculum which describe the content and the goals, learning goals, but then local schools have to have, or municipalities or cities must have a plan how they do implement this plan as a joint responsibility of all the teachers. Because math teachers have to be able to identify where do you need mathematics in labor market, where do you need languages. So it's a sort of requirement for them as well, in addition to the work of the school counselor. And the school counselor works also in cooperation with the local enterprises when organizing these school fairs or school visits or these practical experience. They work together with parents and other teachers. They work together with social workers, youth workers, if there are individual problems with the children or if they need additional help or special needs. So the career guidance is, I just summarized that it's like a whole school approach, then an overall goal, but then a specific school subject or similar like school subject time slot. And then the idea is that before the students leave this comprehensive education, they have a plan and they apply to upper secondary level education in March on their 9th grade. Then in upper secondary general education, we have similar system that in general education, the students have again 76 hours compulsory career education. It's divided or spread again during the 3 years. And then the focus is strengthening the career management skills or which have been learned during the 9-year education, defining it or perhaps narrowing it, looking for new options, what might be the opportunities in higher education or in universities of applied sciences or traditional universities or in the labor market, whether you want to have mobility or foreign exchange. So it has the similar features that what are your strengths, what did you want to learn, how you design your program in such way that you take into account the further studies in higher education. And again, it's delivered in cooperation with the trained school counselor and then the other teachers. And then we have like personal tutors who have a group of students, like 20 students, which they follow up the 3 years. And then in vet schools, often we think that students have already chosen their career, but because we have the structure that students have the opportunity to continue in higher education, they are eligible applicants, there are need for information about learning opportunities, preparing their career management skills, entering to labor market or having placements or work experience. So there is also one easy vet, like it's about 20-30 hours working time for students, compulsory time slot, again, where the aim is to strengthen the individual skills on career learning and career management. So this is, yeah.
We can have some space for questions.
Yeah, I was finishing just, so this is the overall.
Okay, so, takže jestli máte nějakou otázku, možná konkrétní, klidně v češtině. Okay, so
Maybe here.
No.
I would like to ask you if you have any guidelines for reflecting the students' practical experience.
Can you please repeat?
If you have guidelines for reflecting
Their work experience
of students.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So if the students are going to these workplaces, before they go, we are in a way learning a tool how to compare different jobs or experiences. So we can start asking that what is the expected outcomes of these different companies? What are their products? What is their field? And what they are sort of producing. And the second one is what type of skills and competencies have to employees obtain or have when they are working in this field. Secondly, they asked what is the current trends? Is it sort of an opening or emerging area, perhaps shrinking? And then where can you find training opportunities for these professions, and also what type of personalities? So how does this relate to individual competencies? So this is a sort of key questions what they have to sort of reflect when they go there, and they do their assignments according to these. And now when they are reporting and reflecting, coming back, they think, how does this relate into my own goals as well, but how I'm sharing experiences of these learning outcomes with other students in the classroom. So we have created this program in such way that it's not just a visit, but it's part of the learning process. And we have the national guidelines for this, and some of the learning. We have public learning materials publishers who provide tools for practitioners and school teachers to do this.
Thank you very much. So some last question. So I have one short question. If the guidance counselor, is he his full-time job, or he is also teacher and also part-time he's counselor?
Mainly they are full-time, and we have specific training. They have to have a master degree, or if they have another type of teacher training already, then we have 60 ECTS postgraduate diploma, and mainly they are full-time teachers. So their teaching responsibility is this providing these classroom activities for students, and 1/3 of their job is normally classroom activities, then work with students, and 1/3 is work with these other teachers or employers or with the local community.
Yeah, but everything is about the career education.
Yeah, and there are some countries who are now moving towards this type of activity. So Estonia is having similar process what you are having. Sweden is planning. They just made a national evaluation that it should be like a timetabled subject. Norway has this, Kosovo, Korea. So number of countries are moving towards this. And the added value, my last comment is that if you can have this type of legal entitlement for students, then you don't have to always discuss which is important, mathematics or career education or languages. So during the 15 years what we have had, nobody is challenging that should we have it or not, because we have evidence that those students who have their idea what they are planning and what level is their education, they have been performing better in PISA than those students would have lower expectations of their future. So in a way, this sort of saves money if you have this competence as a mainstream service, but then of course help students and screen who have special needs to avoid the remedial approach and competition with other subjects.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Raimo.
Okay. Tack. Hope to see you in Bratislava and Brno. I'm still struggling whether I'm able to come, but at least so I have not the final decision. Good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.